The government is telling me that they are spending 28 to 32 cents on every dollar that they collect in taxes on the programs directly on the poor that they're supposed to be spending the money on. Well, a private entity doing the exact same thing basically spends 90 to 95 cents on the dollar. Far more efficient. Government is telling me this, but I'm the one that's brainwashed to not to believe government. I'm the one that's brainwashed to believe that government wants to help me. Government is telling me I don't have a right to do this. Government is telling me I don't have a right not to have health care. Government is telling me I don't have a right to be healthy. Government is telling me I don't have a right to eat what I want to eat so I can be healthy the way I want to be healthy. Government is telling me that it's probably pretty soon I won't have a right to drive whatever car I want to drive. Government will be telling me I don't have a right to, well, they're already telling me that if I live in certain areas, I don't have a right to, and I own the land, I don't have a right to do what I want to do with that land. Pretty soon they'll be telling me I don't have a right to live anywhere I want to live. And they're telling me I don't have a right to keep all my money. I don't have a right to go out there, become successful, and reap the benefits of my hard work. Oh, no, I don't have a right to do that. I got to pay it off in taxes. And then after he gets what he wants, basically, the president, he goes on the air and he says, oh, no, wait, you know what? Yeah, I had to compromise. I had to move more than halfway. Now, folks, I don't know, and there are people out there that believe this nonsense. Let's do the math, shall we? Obama said that people making $200,000 and $250,000 should have their taxes increased. John Bonner and the conservative Republicans finally said, well, we'll raise taxes on those making $1 million or more. They settled on raising taxes on people that make $400,000 and $450,000 a year. The president views that $200,000 move, that $600,000 Republican drop, as him going more than halfway to meet Republicans. I don't know how. Moving 200,000, dropping 600. Who moves more? Oh, no, but because, well, yeah, the president, man, he really compromised. And that's all he compromised on. I'm not even sure he compromised on that. I mean, that's not moving across the aisle, according to Obama. Well, it is moving across the aisle, but the stupid Republicans are the ones that did the crossing of the aisle. And Bonner almost got booted out today for that. He barely got reelected as Speaker of the House. Hopefully that'll learn him a lesson and say, look, people are watching. In 2 years, man, you're going to be out. I mean, the pace and the pessimism of this country is flipped. There are now more people than ever before who, outside of a depression, who are pessimistic about the direction of this country. That's a recent poll by Gallup, no less. They're not very happy with it. Well, they voted for him, but they're not very happy with him, the president and the Democrats. Democrats run around out there saying, oh, the Republicans are so mean and evil, and we haven't had a budget passed in 4 years. Well, that's the Republicans' fault. Really? How about the first 2 years of Obama's administration when he got everything, just about everything he asked for, the way he wanted it? Republicans couldn't stop a thing, and they still didn't pass a budget. It's the new math, I guess. Speaking of new math, you got people telling me on Facebook that, these small independent farms should go away because their carbon footprint is bigger than big, large corporate farms. Like, how is that possible? Well, because it takes more gas and fuel and greenhouse gases to move to produce that food and then move it to market. And I say, well, that's a lie. Because these farms are very small. Many of them, if they're a small mom and pop shop type of farm, they're most likely organic. Many of them are organic, which means they don't use petrochemicals and petrofertilizers. So that doesn't have to be produced. You know, in some big chemical plant somewhere that's using fossil fuels in order to manufacture the petrochemicals and petrofertilizers. They're not using that stuff. Second, you know, they usually send their produce to a farmer's market or a farm stand that is either on their property or not too far from their property, or it's just shipped locally to a local grocery store. Versus, I mean, look, you got corn that's produced here in New England, in Vermont. It's got to go, 50 miles to get to me if it's grown in Vermont. Or I can go to the grocery store and buy corn that is grown and produced in Idaho. Now, how far does that got to go to get to me? Oh, well, see, these trains are just so efficient. Yeah, you bought the stupid half-truth of the TV commercial. Yes, maybe it only, they can move a ton of freight on a gallon of gas, 400 miles, whatever it is. But first of all, they're not moving just a ton. It's a lot more than a ton. And second, that's the type of fuel consumption that they're experiencing once they've reached speed. It's like an airplane. Most of the fuel consumption isn't in the flying. It's lifting the damn plane off the ground and getting it up to cruising altitude. That's where most of the fuel is burned. Same thing with the damn train. They burn most of their fuel getting that train going, started, moving, and getting it up to speed, to cruising speed. But wait a minute now. They still got to produce the food. So they use these big tractors, these big vehicles, and most small farms don't have vehicles that big. Farm equipment that large. Those things are using all kinds of fuel. Then they got to put all that produce in the truck so they can take the truck, has to take the produce to the train. Then the train has got to go and get it to wherever it's going to, it's stated destination, but it can't drive up to the door of the grocery store. Oh, no, it's got to go to the train yard, which means that the big grocery store has got to send their trucks over to the train and take all that produce over to its distribution center. And then it's got to have more trucks from the distribution center to send it out to all their grocery stores. And you want to tell me that takes less energy and less of a carbon footprint than that mom and pop growing the food on a small farm using smaller farm equipment and using a smaller truck to get it to their farm stand 10 miles away? What kind of math are you using? Really makes you wonder about the education system in this country and how screwed up it is. Because we got a lot of potentially smart people who are just freaking ignorant as you know what. I mean, this is absolutely insane that somebody would even think to argue the fact that a small-time farmer has a bigger carbon footprint than a petrochemical-using corporate farm. Oh, yeah, I forgot to even mention in all that equation, they got to produce the petrofertilizer and petrochemicals in order to keep so that they can grow the crops, which means that they've got to ship the petrochemical and petrofertilizer by truck to the farmer. Local mom and pop shop farmer, they're using natural or organic stuff, probably from the cows and chickens and pigs that they're raising. Unbelievable. But there it is. There is the liberal math for you. Yep. Government knows best. You don't have a right to control your own destiny or your own health. Because government, we're in like the 32nd incantation or incarnation of the food pyramid, of the recommended daily allowance. If you think the government knew what the hell they were doing, Do you think they'd have to revise it 32 times? Jeez, wake up!
I always loved watching the kids play basketball. I still do, even though things have changed. It's funny, they can't find jobs to get their careers started. And I can't afford to retire. And now we're all living together again. I supported President Obama because he spoke so beautifully. He promised change, but things changed for the worse. Obama started spending like our credit cards have no limit. His healthcare law made health insurance even more expensive. We've had stimulus and bailouts. Obama added almost $16,000 in debt for every American. How will my kids pay that off when they can't even find jobs? Now Obama wants more spending and taxes. That won't fix things. I had so many hopes. Cutting taxes and debt and creating jobs. That's the change we need. Tell President Obama to cut the job-killing debt and support the New Majority Agenda at newmajorityagenda.org.
From Iraq and Afghanistan, our brave warriors are coming home, wounded. Some with wounds you can see, some with wounds you can't see. Wounded Warrior Project was created to support our men and women coming off the battlefield. Please help carry these warriors the rest of the way home. Get involved at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Feeling lonely this holiday season?
Looking for a little human interaction? Do you want to feel contact in certain special places?
Then why not go through security at an airport?
The TSA.
TSA agents are ready and standing by to give you a little something extra to feel thankful about this holiday season.
TSA.
What are you waiting for? I want to check under your testicles.
Spending time with a TSA agent couldn't be easier. Simply book a flight departing from any American airport. When selected for a full body scanner, say no. You'll be pulled aside by a TSA agent, and that's when the fun begins. And you never know who your agent will be.
It could be me. Or me. Or even me.
But it's probably gonna be us. Take off your damn shoe.
The TSA. It's our business to touch yours.
Welcome to the Bureau of Womanhood Conformity. Independent thoughts are considered subversive because all must agree with our leader.
When it comes to women, preventive care should include coverage of contraceptive services such as birth control.
You see, if you don't believe government should pay for your birth control, you're not a real woman. Womanhood denied. If you refuse to accept that pregnancy is a punishment, you're denied as well.
I don't want them punished with a baby.
If you don't believe that abortions should be allowed for any reason, if you don't believe in aborting a child for being the wrong gender, and if you don't believe that stay-at-home mothers aren't real workers, you are not a real conformed woman.
His wife has actually never worked a day in her life. His wife has actually never worked a day in her life.
Finally, for your safety, if you oppose mandatory government health care, you will die.
They will be voting to say that women can die on the floor.
These standards and regulations were formed after our glorious victory in the war on women. Thank you for your cooperation and your conformity.
Today is a special day. Today we gather as a nation and as an international community to recognize the selfless decision of one of the most influential women of our time. She's been recognized by religious figures and politicians around the world To us, she's just